Today on Grow Up Level Up Gamers Club, I'm going to be sharing all about my Pokemon adventures so far. This is the Grow Up Level Up Gamers Club. Cue the intro. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. And I bared the lead here. I got one of these new Pokemon Journey Together booster packs to open up. It's going to be exciting. Hey, Jordan, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Just realized my mic was muted, so you didn't hear me go woo when you showed off the pack, but I'm doing well. How about you?
Excellent. We are a professional podcast. I'm doing well too. I'm literally coming hot off the heels after a burrito, I guess, of the Pokemon Scarlet Violet Journey Together pre-release. By the time you're listening to this, I don't think the set is out till next week because they've been doing pre-release stuff all this week.
Okay.
So it's coming. I went to a pre-release event. I'll share all about it in today's episode. Plus, some of the events that I went to in the past month, specifically the Vancouver Pokémon Regionals that happened about 2 weeks ago. Definitely heard that.
Damn it. I was really hoping that you wouldn't hear that, but
no, it's all good. But before we dive too deep into my Poke adventures, carrying my little Pokemon here, if you're watching YouTube version, you can see the old senior cat in Misty. She's old. Jordan, how are you? How have things been? It's been a while since we actually chatted on the pod, because last week we did a birthday stream.
Oh yeah, I was trying to think why it felt like it had been a hot minute since we actually did this whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing pretty darn well. Been playing some games, at least one game I hadn't been playing before. So that's always exciting. Maybe we'll talk about that. And I mean, oddly enough, I've been still playing a lot of Pokemon TCGP.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Let's dive into the Pokemon of it all. But before we do, what you're listening to is the Grow Up Level Up Gamers Club, the podcast where we talk about the games you should be playing in your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5 through some reviews, previews, impressions, interviews, all the mishmash into your podcast feeds week to week. If you like what you're listening to, please consider subscribing or liking the video or leaving a comment or sharing with a friend or colleague or your worst enemy. You can share it with them as well.
Whoa. Yeah, send them a message and be like, hey, I hate you. Listen to this.
Yeah, exactly.
See what they say.
You know? Yeah, maybe we welcome fans of all types and relationships, I guess. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about my Pokemon adventures, specifically 2 Pokemon adventures. So the first one is the Pokemon Regionals that happened in Vancouver a little while ago. Lots of things happened since then. On March 7th and 9th, the Pokemon Championships came to Vancouver for one of their regional tournaments. Took place over a weekend, or I think just 2 days, like Saturday and Sunday. And then today, and technically all this week, there are pre-release events for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the new set Journey Together, which reintroduces partner Pokemon. Now, if you made it this far into the podcast, you get a special treat. I'm going to unpack my first Journey Together pack now that I got from the pre-release.
Yeah.
Now, as I try to get this open while holding a cat, Jordan, do you know anything about the real Pokemon card game, not Pocket?
Not really the card game, to be honest with you. I know enough about Pokemon in general, but not the card game, no. It was always a mystery to me. It was always about collecting when I was growing up.
Fair enough. I mean, I only really started playing it not even 6 months ago, but I was like, you know what? I'm done with collecting. It's too hard. These cards are too expensive.
Right.
If you don't know, we are in like we're in a bull market, as the business kids say, of these Pokemon cards. Stuff is really overpriced. Scalpers are buying everything. It's tough out there. But you do find things at MSRP. Pokemon Company actually has commented on it, saying they're working on getting product out there, which is kind of amazing. But still to be seen. Stuff is still selling out. But for now, let's unpack this, see if we hit anything. All right. So you got an Energy.
Nice.
Iono's Voltorb.
Nice.
We got Oricorio. Let me know if you ever seen any of these guys before, Jordan. We got Purloin.
I've never seen Oricorio. I've seen Purloin. You got to remember, I did play a lot of Pokemon Go. So oddly enough, that's actually how I know a lot of Pokemon themselves.
Fair enough. got Purloin. We got a
Who's that?
Professor's Research. Professor Sada. Looks a little different, actually, this one.
Draw two cards.
Discard your hand and draw 7,
Oh, okay.
actually.
That's what Professor's Research is in trading
Oh,
card game.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Combuskin.
Nice.
A Alolan Golem. We got Excavalier.
Excavalier.
We got a shiny Lechonk. This one's cute.
Oh, nice. You would like that, wouldn't you? I
We
like
got the
Excavalier.
Impy Dimp, and I think there's one more. Is it a hit? Oh!
Oh,
Alcremie EX.
nice.
Cool. Well, that's fun.
You must be a fan of that too, Alcremie. That seems like a
Alcremie.
Samson Pokemon.
I do like the silly ones. I do like the ones that is like, this is just a cream cake.
I was gonna say she's basically whipped cream and strawberries.
Pretty much. Whip. Its attack is literally whip shot. It's got whip. But
Nice.
yeah, I've been enjoying playing the game lately. Like it's been
The
been
actual
fun.
card game.
The actual card game, going to
Cool.
events, which is something I haven't done in a long time. But speaking of events, the first one I want to talk about is the Pokemon Regional Championships. Took place in Vancouver on March 7th to 9th. I think technically it's only 2 days of competition, 8 to 9. What it is it's an open bracket tournament. I think that's what you call what it's
Sure.
called, where you come really early in the morning. I think games started at like 8:30, and then you play like 8 or 9 rounds. I think it's 8.
Nice.
But basically, you need to end the day positive to be invited to the next day and keep playing until there's like 2 people left and there's 1 champion. So you play 8 rounds, but I think a lot of people, it's really hard. A lot of people went like 0-3, and it's like, well, I guess I'm done, right? Like by Saturday lunchtime,
Yeah.
like you lose three games in a row. So that's a lot of games because it's also a best 2 out of 3.
Okay.
So 3 opponents,
Right.
best 2 out of 3. And you got to do 8 of those. You're
Yikes.
playing 20 something games a day.
That is a lot.
So the story is, I saw this event was coming. Me and my wife, we bought spectator passes, so we were just gonna go shop
okay.
and observe.
Mhm.
And then our friend's younger brother is like, "Hey, I need, I'm a young guy, young enough to need a guardian to go with me." so we teamed up with him and one of our other friends, and we all went as his guardian, and he
Nice.
played. He's an older kid, but he played while we kind of stood around and watched. Checked out the events, the vendors, not as much as I would like they had 4 main vendors selling singles and product, and then something called a prize wall, which I'll come back to in a sec. But basically it's like a huge convention hall at the Vancouver Convention Center, and you had the TCG, the trading card game folks, the Pokemon Go side, and the video game side. So it was like
Okay.
3 events going on at the same time. And then there were also side events, and I participated in one in the afternoon on Saturday afternoon, and that one was pretty fun as well. But I'll dive into that in a second. But basically, that's kind of how it works. Like on the website on the phone, you get like you upload your deck list, and then you get your matchup and a number, and that's your table number, and then there'll be a big announcement like, TCG players, your round 1 opponent is ready. Please head to your tables and wait for the announcement to start. So then everybody walks around, goes to their seat, and then you hear a go, and then you just play your
Nice.
3 rounds. Whoever wins reports it to the judge, or I think to a certain table. They log that into the system, and then all of that gets calculated into the next round. It's really impressive because there was like 1,500 people there across
Okay.
3 different games. Everyone's finding their opponents, and it just went pretty smooth the whole day from what I could tell.
That's
It
cool.
was really, really impressive. Yeah, Jordan, do you have any questions about that, or like anything pique your interest?
I'm actually curious. Like you say, that's impressive because of the scale of it all. And like, what happens if there's a dispute? Like if there's a question around rules, or you think someone made an illegal move, can you throw a flag in the air and then a ref will come by and make a judgment call or something? Or is it pretty much just up to the players?
That's a great question. So yeah, it's in person. Really, we're just playing with card. And I'm just talking just for TCG, but I think they have the same-ish system for the other 2 games, for Go and for VGC, I think they called it.
Right.
but there's these folks that roam around in kind of a uniform. Some folks even
okay.
have the white lab coat, and they are judges or professors.
That's hilarious. I
Yeah,
love
no,
it.
like they legit had the lab coat on.
Oh, man.
And I think like a judge is like the ref. You would call
Right.
them in if there was like a rule discrepancy or if
Okay.
something bad happened.
Illegal move.
Exactly, yeah. And then the ref or the professor is like, it's like the ranking is above the judge, and they've done like they've had a certain amount of experience being a judge.
Right.
They had training. I think you have to actually do a quiz or an exam
Right.
to have the title professor. So like kind of like real life.
Mhm.
So that was really cool. So those folks are like roaming around. I think they like stay in their sections. They help with certain rules and tables. Like if like
Nice.
the opponent takes an extra card and then get called out on it, there's like a penalty. Like you take 2 prize cards as a
okay.
penalty.
Okay.
And then
cool.
the game carries on.
Nice.
So I think like that kind of stuff happens like to prevent cheaters,
Yeah,
I guess,
of
because it
course.
is a very loosey-goosey kind of system, TCG. But that's
Yeah.
the beauty of it as well. It's like very it's very natural. I don't know if that's the right word. It's very in person.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
that was
cool.
really cool. Yeah. So I think we got there in the morning, like around 10, even though the event started at 8. There's still events going around. It was mostly pretty roomy because everyone was sitting down competing in their games.
Okay.
And then around lunchtime, like more and more folks got up. Some
Just
people
chaos.
walked around. Yeah, a little bit. Like people sitting on the floor and chatting, making friends, shopping.
Yeah.
And then they announced that there's going to be a side event. So
Oh.
a side event is not the main competition. It's like a couple hours kind of like, hey, come play here, play for some prizes. And then, see how far you get. So this is a side event for TCG. I brought my Charizard deck.
Nice.
Our friend, he helped me tweak it a little bit, let me borrow some cards, make it a little better. And then we entered. And I'm just pulling up my notes here, but I did not do that bad, I will say.
I saw your posts on social media when you were there. So I didn't realize that you actually didn't go to compete in the sort of main show. Then it was just this part that you did.
Yeah, so I did the side event just because I was like already there, and I'm like, well, can't make this trip for nothing. Still took a couple hours though. It was like 2:00, and I think we ended around like 6 or 7 by the time we got out, and then had to drive back from downtown. So I didn't know if that had a specific name. I think it was just called TCG Side Event. But basically, I brought my Charizard EX deck and played 5 rounds. Overall, I went 2-3. So I won 2, lost 3. Which is, say, pretty good that I even... my goal was like just knock out one opponent's Pokemon.
For sure.
Just get close. And that was pretty fun. Like I played against a variety of decks. My last game was even a mirror match, so that was really cool. It came down to the wire.
Cool.
And then at the end of that, depending on how well you do, you go up to the I don't know what you call it, like the prize table, and they give you this like paper ticket money that has a number of points on it. You take that paper ticket money, kind of like an arcade, bring it to the prize wall, and then you can choose whatever you want. Lots of plushies, some booster packs, some product like bundles, and there was like the most expensive stuff was like a giant slowpoke plushie for 1,500 points. And the nice thing was like those points you can only earn from the side events.
Okay.
The main people competing probably won't have time to participate in a lot of side events.
Yeah, I get you.
But if you're playing only side events and you do like Pokemon Go and TCG and the VGC and everything, you might be able to earn some of the bigger stuff. But I walked away with a plush for myself and Queenie. I got a little Tim pole.
Nice. Yeah.
They're called sitting cuties because I think they're all designed to sit.
It's kind of like weighted, a little sandbag in the bottom kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, you can feel it. And I got Tim pole, audio listeners. He looks like a tadpole with a smug face.
He does.
He's cute. I like him.
That's awesome.
And then we like played until the very end and then called it. Went out and we're like, oh man, it's already dark and I'm so tired and thirsty.
Yeah,
it was a long day. It's like one of those casino things where you're inside, you don't see outside, and just end up being there for hours and hours. That was Pokemon Regionals. I didn't go
That's
back
really
for the
cool.
second day. I think our friend was like, I lost 3 in a row. I'm not going back for day 2, whatever. But that was really cool. I'll definitely do it again.
Awesome. That's really cool. That's the kind of thing that, like, I mean, I don't collect the cards in real life, obviously, just the digital ones nowadays. But that's the kind of thing that I would love to go to, but I would probably only really go to with someone who is, knows what they're doing, right? I want to see the ropes. I want to see what happens. I want to watch a battle and everything. But I'm not going to compete myself. But yeah,
Hey, I mean, it's never too late. It's never too late.
I love cons and that kind of thing, though. I've always enjoyed just that kind of atmosphere and everything. It's just fun being around people with similar interests. So,
Speaking of cons, it wasn't perfect event. Like I think we mostly went there to shop, but there, like I said, there are only 4 vendors there, and so by the time we were like walk through all 4 in 30 minutes, not even, we're like, okay, well, that's everything, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of nice. We got to go back and start digging deeper into people's collections or whatnot, and then to see what, like, find a little rare stuff. Like I did end up finding more Garbodors to get. So there you go.
Nice.
So that was kind of nice. But then I think we heard from someone that there were supposed to be 7 vendors, and 3 of them just straight up didn't show up.
Oh no!
And it's like, did they get stuck at the border? Or like, the cool thing is, there were some vendors all the way down from like Oregon who came up with their product. And then local ones like Magic Stronghold was there.
Love Magic Stronghold.
Yeah, it's an institution. I'll say. But that was really fun. It was cool to shop. But I wish there was more. I was expecting like even more official Pokemon product to buy. Like if they had the real plushies, be all over that.
Yeah. So
that's kind of the one unfortunate thing. But overall, it's very much like a con vibe. Everyone's there for the same reason. In my side event, even like once you're done your game, there's nothing else to do but chat with your opponent. It's cool to see where people came from. Like my first opponent, they were from Alberta, actually. I forget Calgary or Edmonton.
Oh, nice. Oh,
wow. But they made the trip out here to play.
Yeah.
The one opponent was from, I think, California.
Nice.
And he was saying like he came to trade, but then I was like, oh, well, it's like there's actually a card show happening tomorrow. So I'd put him on that. And it's like, it's just an easy SkyTrain ride down to Metrotown. And then I hope he went to that because that would have been a good place to trade cards. So lots of people there for like different reasons.
Right.
And I was also saying like, you get a lot of people from the West Coast coming up to Vancouver. The sucky thing was, I was cool. Like, I love it when people come visit, but and it was at the convention center, so right across you can see the mountains, but it was raining really hard that weekend, and it was all clouds. It's like, you guys can't see the mountains this weekend. That sucks. Yeah, we got to get you over here for one, Jordan. It is pretty fun.
Oh man, I'd love to do that. I mean, I'd love to come to Vancouver just to visit. Like I have a bunch of friends out there and everything too, but it's
tricky.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to play in real life though?
Would I want to? I mean, I'd want to, but like I don't, collect physical cards or anything like that. So it's pretty hard to play when you don't have the physical cards and don't know the rules of the game. having never played before. Yeah. But if I were to get into it, then I definitely would go compete. Like I used to. I mean, when I was in high school, and a little bit different, but similar vein and in line with the show, and my friends and I were obsessed with like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. All I wanted was a competitive local scene. And that just didn't really exist. Like that was like early days of MLG. Like MLG was basically all there was for competitive esports. And I mean, I think, that's why I got so into the Overwatch League. Cause like if that kind of stuff had been around when I was in high school, I would have been all about it. And I mean, it wasn't. And then I was when I was older. So, I like competition, right? And especially when it's games and nerdy stuff that I actually can play. I can't play hockey, so
that's funny that you bring hockey up because I was saying like, man, I don't know if I can do hockey or volleyball or any of that. I do need a physical team sport, but for the older folks like who aren't as physically abled as the younger folks, like I would say like trading card games are kind of a good medium because it's pretty much 90% brain.
Yeah.
And I guess you have the ability to move cards around and all that, but a lot of it is like more or less like chess.
Yeah.
It's fancy chess.
Yeah.
So for me, it does scratch that competitive itch.
Yeah.
And then I was also gonna say, like, for competing, like you actually don't really need to collect too many cards for playing. Pokemon's actually kind of one of the unique card games because a lot of other card games like One Piece or Magic, like you can just buy the singles and build the deck you want,
right?
Or like buy whatever cards are good and build the deck you want. But those cards are expensive.
Yeah.
But for Pokemon, it's actually quite cheap to buy the competitive cards to build a deck because there is a whole collection scene out there.
Right.
People just open packs over and over again. So cards are very available. The competitive ones are very easy.
That makes sense.
99% of them are cheap. Yeah. So that was actually kind of
cool.
how I got onto this train in the first place last summer. I'm like, I need a cheap card game to get into. I was like, Pokemon. So I look into it, and now we're really expensive because everybody's getting into it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a scene out there in the old Alberta, in the Berta.
I mean, it's funny because like literally, I don't know, a year ago now, but you know, my daughter, one of her classmates had a birthday party at some place nearby, and I dropped her off, and I leave, and it's in like this kind of strip mall thing. I leave, and two stores over is a collectible card shop, but it's literally focused on Pokemon. You go in and they have display cases that are all of the rarest Pokemon that they have and sell, and they just have tables set up and everything. And that was 10 minutes from my house, right? So I know it's around, you know, even here and everything. And it's actually funny because I was thinking about the whole con vibe thing, and I was thinking, like, I feel like I just recently kind of went to something, and I was racking my brain to remember what it was. And then I remembered it was probably around the same time you were at this event. There was a mall nearby that was just promoting this like nerd showing. And it was literally just like one wing of the mall. They just had vendors lined up selling all sorts of stuff. And, you know, I remember I sent you a picture or two of some people selling cards, just their binders that they had out. And there were so many Pokemon cards, like tons of people selling them and everything. So, you know, it's definitely around, and yeah, I mean, I could get into it. I know I could. I don't know. It's a slippery slope, right?
It 100% is a slippery slope. Speaking of slippery slope, let's slide into my next Pokemon adventure that I just came off of, hot off the heels off. Today is March 20th. I just did the first pre-release that I've done in like 10 years. My first Pokemon pre-release with my buddy Daniel, who also got into the game, Slippery Slope, as they say. He was there. He's the one that invited me. So for those who don't know what a pre-release is, they're like events that stores will run a week or two before the actual set comes out. So this new Pokemon set, Journey Together, comes out, I think, March 27th or 28th. So the next Friday after this one. But they don't. But yeah, the Pokemon Company or whoever runs the Pokemon cards, Pokemon Company, will give something called a build and battle kit to the stores and give to people, and just say, hey, have an event. People pay for the build and battle kit, which is about, I think I paid like $30-$40 for it.
Nice.
What it is 4 booster packs just like this, plus like a pre-made deck. And then it's kind of like a draft where instead of taking and passing a card, you just open your build and battle kit, build the deck, smaller of 40, and then you play a couple rounds, see what score you get, and then earn some bonus packs on top.
Nice.
Depending on the store.
That's cool.
I think with supply being limited right now, I think they just gave everybody a participation award of 3 packs. But usually with
even.
Other pre-release events. Yeah, it's generous already. I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah.
But with other pre-release events, it's like, if you're first, you're getting like 8 extra packs to take home and open or whatever.
That's
so it's interesting. So I went to my first Pokemon one at Casual Games in Port Coquitlam. Shout out to Casual Games, really cool store.
Casual Games. Now, wait, before you get into it, would you say there's a particular color of this recent release?
Yeah, it's like a blue, like a light blue. Whoa!
All right, let's find a light blue.
Oh snap! If you are an audio listener, Jordan is changing colors
There
as
we
we
go.
speak. I was going to say, your lighting looked a little different today.
That's right. Got a fancy light here, so now we'll be blue.
So it is a light Journey Together blue.
Nice.
The whole theme of this set, like sets come out every 2-ish months. The whole theme of this one is they're bringing back trainer Pokemon. So certain Pokemon have like trainers attached to them and get a boost because of it. So
Nice.
Like, let's see if I can pull one up here. I don't think we pulled one earlier. But for example, here, Iono's Voltorb. For those watching the video version or audio version, I am holding up a Voltorb card called Iono's Voltorb. And there's certain cards out there that will give Iono's Pokemon boosts if they are out there. So that's an option that you can do. I think at the pre-release events, the meta Pokemon was Hops Cramorant. It was just OP. Like if we're getting to the nitty gritty, in
what a
the
dumb
pre-release
card.
events, Cramorant, yeah. Pre-release events, you don't play with 6 prizes, you play with 4. So in Hops Cramorant is like you can only attack if your opponent has 4 cards, which is like right away 4 prize cards.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, people are slapping happy with the Hops Cramorant. If you pull one of those, you're looking good for the whole match.
Nice.
But it was fun. Like it was 3 rounds. They gave you half an hour to build your deck, and then each round is about half an hour as well. You only play one game, like you're done in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then after that, you play all 3 rounds, end up with a score. I think at other pre-release times they would give you more packs based on your score, but I went 2-1, just got my 3 packs, said thank you, and then I peaced out. It was fun. It was really chill. Cool. The community I went with, it was like a quarter kids and then a quarter us adults. A couple dads. On my way out, a dad stopped me and we chatted for a while. Like it's like, yeah, my son's here. Like and his son is like a teenage son.
Nice.
So, and he was actually my first opponent, just out of coincidence. So I was telling him, it was like, yeah, he beat me round 1. So it was really cool. It was a really chill event, well run, cool. And well communicated, and the community was really nice. It's a smaller community, lots of younger kids. So I think people were kind of behaving, or at least being a little careful. Did I swear a couple times and then catch myself? Maybe. But it was really cool. The pre-release. I think I ended up having an Amoonguss EX and won a couple games with my big mushroom. Yeah.
Nice. That is a big mushroom.
Yeah. Pre-release events, pretty chill, pretty fun.
That's cool.
I was rushing there after work too. I was like, it like started right after my work ended, so I was like zooming over.
I didn't know that they did pre-release events for decks. That's actually really cool. I've never heard of that. Like, I mean, why wouldn't they? There's always pre-release for movies and things like that. But yeah, I just never really thought of it for something like Pokemon cards. But it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, I guess it's a good way to get people out, because it's like, ooh, you get to play with the new shiny thing before it comes out. Especially with the market now, like even when it comes out, who knows when you'll get the actual set.
Yeah, for sure.
But I used to go to pre-release events for Magic the Gathering like 10 years ago, more than that. And that was when things were a little, I don't even know what's the right word, but when they did midnight releases, it really was midnight releases. Yeah. Now things are like 9 p.m. or like 10 p.m.
I wonder why we went away from that, because I went to a couple midnight releases for games, and then I remember I remember one specifically I was excited for. I want to say it was Killzone 2. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I had ever encountered it, where I went the day before, whatever, just to make sure I had my pre-order or whatever. And they were like, oh yeah, the midnight launch is at 9 a.m. It was basically like the store's opening at the regular time the next day, and that's when you can come get it. So there wasn't really a midnight launch, and I was like, "What? This is dumb." But
Yeah.
I was so excited. Like I love the hype of lining up for something, you know, being there and just being with people that are excited for it and everything like that. I mean, I went to, you know, midnight launches of movies and stuff like that. The Dark Knight Rises. Shout out my friend Dan.
Was that actually at midnight, or was it?
And that was actually like a midnight showing of the movie. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I just love that. You know, there's something hype about getting in a big long line and you're about to go experience something with a bunch of people who are excited to experience it and everything like that. So
yeah, it is kind of weird why we don't do those as much anymore. I guess people don't want to work.
Yeah, I guess
people don't want to work anymore.
Yeah, that's right. These Gen Z.
But no, I agree. There used to be a really fun camaraderie around it because like only the diehards of the diehards will be up at midnight.
Totally.
One thing I remember fondly, I think, is when Smash Ultimate was coming out on the Switch.
Oh yeah.
And I went for the midnight release of that. Everyone was outside. It wasn't that cold, but people were bundled up and hanging out and playing Smash on our 3DSs at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. Like with digital releases, it's also kind of taken that away.
That's a good point.
I guess that's why I like physical card games. You can't digitally release this at midnight.
It's physical.
Yeah, it's physical. People like to open them in person and like be like, "Whoa, you got the Charizard EX."
Did you see any extremely rare? Anyone get any really rare pulls?
Not at this event, but I heard that my buddy Daniel actually he pulled the Iono's Belly Bolt secret rare.
I was looking at the breakdown of every card. I was just scrolling as you were talking before, and I saw that one.
Yeah, that one's like worth
$500
or something right now.
Yeah, nice.
Getting economics of it. It's pre-release. Okay,
yeah, of course.
We're in a bull market. Like, and I would say a lot of the times, like, don't buy cards based on like the value of it or whatever.
Yeah,
the money part of it, like cards should be played with and all that. So. But yeah, trading card game midnight releases are pretty fun. Cool. Haven't done one since Magic. I think it was Cons of Tarkir, and then I went at midnight, and so we were driving home at like 2 a.m. and then the cops pulled us over, asking us where we were. And I said, "Oh, we were at a Magic the Gathering
like, oh, we're a bunch of
pre-release
nerds.
event." And then he's like, "What?" And he's like, "What's that?" And then we're like, "Oh, we were playing cards till late."
We were doing bad things. We were rebels.
Yeah, exactly. Nope, we were just goofing around. So that was pretty fun. I recommend you go to your local community audience, and Jordan, I guess. Check out what events are going on at the card shops around your town.
I'm looking
obviously,
right now.
like most of the time, people are. It's a good community. Like people go to have fun and meet other people, especially for like boomers like us. Well, I guess we're not that old, but people who don't get to play hockey all the time and go all out. You can exercise your competitiveness through
I used to play soccer before I moved to Edmonton, so...
Oh, it's cold out there?
Well, no, it's just I played with my friends and they don't live here, so. I didn't want to join a team of people I didn't know.
There you go. Yeah, that's also tricky. You only need to find one other person.
True.
I guess with card games, it's like... Yeah, it's very much a solo game most of the time.
It's different too, right? It's a different kind of competition because for something like soccer, I didn't start playing soccer till I was in my early 20s, and it was literally my wife has played her whole life. She started playing with some of our friends, and I started watching the games, and then they were all kind of like, you know, we know you have no experience, but why don't you come play? And then fast forward almost 10 years, and we played with them the entire time.
Nice.
And but again, I already had a relationship with them, so I knew they were super easygoing, and like they were a pretty bad team without me, so it was kind of like can't get much worse. So but card games, it's different, right? It's one-on-one realistically. I mean, I know you can do things like you can do 2v2 with Magic and stuff like that, but
two-headed giant. Yeah, you know what's up.
I know a little bit about these things. Those same friends also recently got into Magic, and the last time I was back in Calgary, they were doing they did a big draft and a big tournament, and they have been playing each other on and off for the past probably 8 months. And the last time I was in Calgary was one of the days they were meeting up, and I went just to watch. And I've never seen people play Magic before. So
Do you know how to play Magic? Did they ever teach you?
I don't. They had some people that were learning, and actually a part of the reason why they started it is because a few of the people had no interest in Magic, but then the set that released was called something.
So many sets have released since then.
I know, and that's the thing. They've been playing for a while now.
Tell me what's the theme? Usually,
I'm googling it. It's like honestly, they're like cute animals.
Oh, Bloomborough.
Yes, that's the exact.
Yeah. I like that one.
So there were a few of. So a group of my friends already knew how to play and had cards and everything, and then for the most part, it was their significant others knew what Magic was, had no interest in it, then saw Bloomborough, and were like, we want to make this a thing. So then the group went from like 5 people that played, basically doubled to like 10 people that played. So then they did a whole draft. They got to pick their decks and everything. And then they've been doing this kind of on-off tournament for the past, like I say, probably 8 months. So anyways, at that time and prior to that, I used to subscribe to the theory, and I probably still do, that if you want to talk levels of nerdiness, Magic the Gathering might be the epitome of nerdy to me.
100%.
And I've had people debate me on that. I think it might be the thing. Now, a part of that comes from when I was in school, when I went to SAIT, the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, for a diploma in IT. Almost everyone played Magic, and I was like, "You guys are all huge nerds," and I was in the program too. So, anyways,
you're too cool. You're too cool.
That's right. I was too cool for Magic. But yeah. So, anyways, point is, when my friends started to get into it and did this whole big tournament, I got a little bit of FOMO, and then I was like, "Okay, maybe I'll look into this a little bit." And started looking at cards and watching some YouTube videos about how to play and stuff. I never fully learned, and I never got a deck or anything, but I have an interest now. At least it piqued my interest. So
yeah,
you never know. But
Magic is, if you learn to play Magic, which is not that hard. Like
trust me. Some of my
half
friends,
the rules on the card. Yeah.
Some of my friends, I'm like, you guys learn to play. I can learn to play.
There you go. Once you learn that, it's because it's so old and there's so many different concepts that you have to wrap your head around.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's the same rules.
Yeah.
Like once you wrap your head around Magic for a little while, I feel like every other card game that comes after it, it's like, oh, this is a variation of
pretty easy to
this
understand.
Magic mechanic. I know how this works.
Okay.
At least I found that in Pokemon. I would say Pokemon, it's easier to learn than Magic. Like at some point, Magic gets a little wiggity whack. But you do start to see a lot of the same mechanics because like it is still cards in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, Magic. Now I'm thinking I want to do another draft again. I used to play a lot of Magic with my buddies at summer camp that I worked at.
Oh yeah.
And then once in a while they'll ask, you want to do a draft? But then it's like, sure. And it's the age old challenge of when are we all going to get together?
The adult
What's
problem.
everyone's Saturday like? What about Saturday 2 months from
3
now?
hours? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sometimes more, right? It's not just the three. Yeah. Sometimes it's a whole evening into the night, but it's fun because it's also an excuse to get together and play around. So that Bloomborough set though, going back to that with the little animals, I also really like that set because it's very what's that cartoon? I keep thinking Bridge to Terabithia, but that's really depressing.
That's a live action.
Yeah.
A girl hits her head on a
spoilers for a 30-year-old book
dies.
or movie.
Yes, I remember reading that. What is that?
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about too.
Fern Gully, is that what I'm thinking of?
Fern Gully is a sort of thing, but I think that was more like fairies.
It's like a weird bat. Anyways,
there's fairies in Fern Gully.
If you know what we're talking about, please leave it in a comment below. It involves a mouse, and it's also very depressing. It's like an allegory of war or something.
And it's like very realistic but cartoony.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we should explain what Bloomborough is. Yeah, you're like little the theme of that magic set is like your little animals of the forest, like squirrels, rats, otters,
but
owls, birds, but you're
Raccoons.
magical. They all have robes on and swords, and all that. So it's very thematically it's cartoon we're thinking of.
Yes, it's fantasy animals.
Fantasy animals.
Like high fantasy animals, like Lord of the Rings, but they're all animals.
Perfect. Yeah, there you go. That was really fun. I like that one. That kind of came and went, though. I wish it would stay around a little bit.
Well, for my friends, it's still going.
Bloomborough, that specific set?
Well, because they haven't finished their tournament thing they were doing, right? They like built out a whole seeding thing, and X person had to play X number of matches against X other person, and they're at a point where like it's totally lopsided, and everyone's played their matches except like anyone who had to match up against one person, and that one person just has come to the least gatherings that they've had.
Right.
So now that person has to play like 6 different matches in one day, and it's going to be 6 different opponents just because they haven't shown up. But anyways,
gosh. It's a Pokemon regional again. 6,
that's true.
8 matches in one day.
Yeah,
that's 2 out of 3.
Right. That's right.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that Bloomborough. Anyways, that's what I've been up to. My Pokemon adventures the last 2 months. I am deep into physical card game again. I think that's scratching the competitive itch for me after I would say like Overwatch scratched that for me for many years, but now it's like, all right, time to get back into the real world. And Pokemon's a pretty relevant IP. It's a pretty relevant
always
thing. Good for all ages.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of at now. Cool. If you're still listening. If you are listening, I don't mean still listening. Of course you're listening. Let us know in the comments below what your favorite Pokemon is. And if you are playing the card game at all, or if you played a video game or Pokemon Go, or Pokemon Sleep, if anybody plays that, let us know in the comments below. Because now we are going to transition into our next topic, what we've been playing. Although I've talked a lot about Pokemon, I still have time for other games.
Nice.
Turns out lots of 5 to 9s in my 9 to 5 game time. Jordan, what have you been playing? I've been yapping all day.
Lots of 5 to 9s in my 9 to 5. Interesting.
Does that mean I play games at work? No. The answer is no.
You never got Balatro on your phone, so no. The answer is no. I, on the other hand, might have been doing some battles during this very recording. But
what? Wow, multitask master.
Yeah, right. Well, you start talking about Pokemon, and I get hyped, and I'm like, I'll just go check if I can rip it back right now, and then I can't, and I'm like, I'll just do a quick battle. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I've been playing a few things here and there. Oh man, there's one that I'll save for another day.
Oh,
I do want to talk about it, but I want to talk about this other one more. So anyways, 2 big things I've been playing. Like I say, one I'll come back to. The other one is Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Oh, yes. Of course, I was hoping for that.
Dragon Age came out as one of March's free PlayStation Plus games. So if you bought it 6 months ago when it came out, oops, sorry about that. Guess you shouldn't have. I would be pretty upset, actually, if I saw that. And the funny thing is, there was, I think maybe a week or 2 ago, there were all sorts of reports about how EA was pretty unhappy with sales of Dragon Age and making all sorts of changes at BioWare, of course, Edmonton-based developer of the Dragon Age series, as well as the Mass Effect series. But anyways, point is, EA was none too happy with the sales performance of Dragon Age. And very shortly after that, it was announced to be coming as one of the free games to PlayStation Plus. I couldn't have been more thrilled because, as you might recall, at the end of 2024, I was debating between getting Metaphor ReFantasio and Dragon Age. And I went for Metaphor, and lo and behold, I made the right call because now I got Dragon Age for free.
Nice.
So anyways, all the unwarranted and online drama and criticism aside, I will not touch on that because it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a pretty great game. Honestly, you can definitely see some of the valid criticisms of this game took a really long time for them to make, and apparently, they kind of had to restart development a couple times. And you can kind of see some of that. It does feel a little bit at times like it wasn't really sure what story it wanted to tell or what direction it wanted to go. And so they kind of, in a lot of ways, probably had a lot of good systems and a lot of good ideas and had to cobble them together. And as someone who's not played another Dragon Age, that's just fine for me. Honestly, this story is light. They do what they need to set it up. They get you in there. They introduce some characters. And for me, again, knowing that Dragon Age as a series has a bit of a history and people are big fans of the previous games, I think Inquisition is the one that most people really like. I want to say Dragon Age 2 was a bit of a letdown or something like that. Anyways, there are times where a character will pop up, and it's clear that for fans of the series, you know this character, or you recognize this character, or even, you as the player or one of your party members will say something to this character that shows that, oh yeah, there's already a relationship here, right? And I'm definitely picking up on that. And when that happens, I often grab my phone and then I Google that character and I say Dragon Age 2 or Dragon Age Inquisition, because I want to see what they looked like back then and how they compare now. So, I'm not super far in. That said, I'm probably a good, 15 hours in. So I've played enough of it to kind of, I'm in all the systems. I'm expanding my talent tree and everything. And the other thing that I really liked was at the beginning, it has this kind of intro, which isn't super exciting, but it's also not super long. And because of that, I tried out all the classes on it. So I actually started the game over 3 times before I decided what I was going to play.
How many classes are there?
There's only 3 classes, which kind of surprised me, because I feel like in these kind of games, there are usually, I'd say 5 minimum, right? Yeah, and again, I think that comes back to the troubled development of the game, where I can't imagine they only wanted there to be 3. Now, maybe in other Dragon Age games, there were only ever 3, but it just feels like, it does feel like it's missing a little bit. So there's and I don't know if I get the names exactly right, but there's a warrior class, sword and board kind of thing. There's a rogue class, which is sneaky, stabby, really quick kind of thing. And then there's a mage. So I started with the warrior just to see what it played like. And the funny thing was, it actually reminded me a lot of God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. Very visceral, heavy hitting. And then, you parry with the shield and it kind of reflects back and things like that. Now, all the classes do have a parry, so, there's that. But, and it felt heavy. It felt like, honestly, I was like, I feel like Kratos. And I was like, that's not why I want to play this game. I want to be a little more agile. So then I tried the rogue. It was better. And then I tried the mage. And I'm just so partial to magic classes that I went for the mage.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, the combat is kind of what really keeps me coming back. It's got a really fun rhythm to it that you expand out as you build your tree. But then it's also got a sort of live action party that you can control, where you can, on the fly, you can hit a button and the combat keeps going and you can tell your party members what spells to cast and things like that. Or you can pull up a sort of wheel that freezes everything, and then you sequence your attacks and you say, okay, first I want my one party member to do this attack. Then I want this other person to do this attack, which actually combos with that attack. Then I want to use my attack to do some crowd control. And you kind of select them. And then when you let go of the menu, it goes boom, 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 boom. And it all kind of fires off and resumes. So the combat is really fun. Again, the story is there and kind of, it's going. But I'm in it for the characters, because the characters I think are fun. There is a relationship aspect, so naturally I'm romancing every single character I come across that I can. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. So right now it's definitely a game I'd recommend. I'm excited to keep going. Also, it's just beautiful. Like, if you want to see some fantastic fantasy environments, definitely pick up this game. The character creator's just intense and wild. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. Just a good time. It's just a good time. Like I say, there are flaws, but if you just want a good game with some nice combat, some satisfying feeling, either spells or slicing and dicing, definitely try it out. So
especially if it's still on PlayStation Plus for the month.
it will be here until whatever the first Tuesday of April is. So that would be probably April 1st. April 1st is the first Tuesday, and that's usually when they rotate these things out. So
almost the fun time of the year.
That's right.
I'll check it out. I did pick up PS Plus this month to play Monster Hunter Online.
Oh, of course.
So I'm like, I might as well dip into that.
Absolutely.
I don't know what class I would be. I guess my question for you is,
yes,
and this is something that I learned bothered me in Monster Hunter.
Ooh, okay.
I have two questions, but this first one is kind of negative.
Okay.
But how are the facial animations during the scenes where it's just two characters talking back and forth that are not the like well done cutscenes, that are just two people like giving some quick exposition?
I hate to tell you this, but that is one of my biggest annoyances with the game. Is the lip syncing is kind of crap. It's definitely like like it's such a character driven game, and they really want to rely on the fact that you have relationships, you're building relationships with these characters, and in some cases, like I say, you have relationships with them from the previous games. And because of that, a lot of the cutscenes are very focused, bust shot kind of thing. If it's not a good old headshot, it is just like your shoulders up. And sometimes it's hard for me to watch them because their mouths are moving, but like there's sound coming out, but their mouths aren't really moving, and it's
or it's
and
like
it's
bop, 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 bop.
It just makes me
crazy style.
It makes me hurt a little bit because it's such a pretty game, and like, oh my god, the hair physics are just fantastic. I love seeing these characters' hair just floating around and bopping around and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, the lip syncing is definitely a bit challenging at times. But just look at other parts of the people when they're talking, and
oh my gosh, that's like, I asked that, and I know it's not fair because tons of that's like common in a whole bunch of games.
Yeah,
it's only really like The Last of Us where it looks good.
Yeah.
I was playing Monster Hunter, and I'm like, like Alma and oh man, I already forgot the forger's name, the Maggie or whatever,
the sexy one.
Yeah, the sexy one, Gemma. Yes. And I'm like, man, like most beautiful characters I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then you get into the what can I do for you? And it's pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
Mouth, and I'm
their
like,
mouth barely moves or something.
Takes out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like nitpicking, but as long as the gameplay is good, I love a good hack and slash. Go through the story, it's good enough. Give me an epic boss fight at the end.
Totally.
But so you haven't finished the game, I guess you can't say.
No,
it's like,
I haven't finished it. And I'm taking my time. I'm exploring every kind of nook and cranny. They like to just, hey, you came to this random corner. Here's 4 cents, and they give you $4 or whatever currency, whatever, a piece of wood for crafting things. And again, that kind of comes back to a little bit of my complaints is like some of the systems feel a little half baked, like crafting and upgrading and things like that. It feels a little like they tacked it on because they felt like they had to. And I'm a little bit like, I don't think you had to. But there's a lot of cool things going on. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could gush about the game a little more, but maybe I'll save some of that for when I'm a little further, or maybe when I beat the game, and we can talk a little more about that.
Yeah, so. Maybe like a follow-up review almost. Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. Did you say you had a second game that you want to chat about?
I did, but I'm going to save that one. I'll tease you with the name, and if you want to Google it, because it's a pretty hilarious game. But I'll talk about it another time. It's a game called Phogs. Phogs.
Oh, okay. I think I have heard of this game, so I can't wait for your impressions. Another time?
Maybe next week. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Well, the game I want to quickly talk about is one of those every Twitch streamer, YouTuber is playing it and making content out of it. It is called REPO. REPO. Technically, the game is R.E.P.O.
Does it stand for something?
That's a good question. So it's a pretty... Let me try to get a trailer up here to get a visual. But basically, if I've heard, it works just like... what's that game that came out last year? Lethal Company.
Oh, yes.
Where... well, I guess it's kind of like Among Us as well, where you are little characters, little bean characters, doing a little task, okay? And
little bean characters.
Like they look like little robots. If you're watching the video version. You're kind of like a cross between an Among Us guy and a Muppet.
I was about to say like
You're a little
Muppet.
bigger. Yeah, definitely the flapping mouse.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal of this game is you and your friends go into these environments like a house, a lab.
Wait, do you play as these weird Muppets?
Yes, yeah. Every little Muppet guy is a human player.
Okay.
You play as these little Muppet guys, and you go in and try to grab items and take them out with you, like an extraction shooter. You're trying to extract stuff. Wow, this trailer is really chaotic.
I know.
If you're watching, the game is a lot more meditative than that.
Okay.
And I will say it's not as spooky as the trailer makes it out to be.
Yeah, that was wild. I was like,
was
this
scary.
doesn't look like the game I've seen.
If you want to watch it later, it's just the official release trailer. It is. That was crazy. I never actually watched that trailer until now. But basically, you are a little Muppet. You go in, look for items like real household items like diamond, like stuff of rarity, diamond, dolls, TVs. There's sometimes giant statues, musical instruments, and then you take them to your extract point, and the goal is to make enough money that it's like, all right, you extracted this much money, now get out, right? It starts easy. First level, you go in, move stuff to your extract point, and then you leave, buy some upgrades, go to the next one. As it gets harder and harder, there are multiple extract points where you have to you do one and then you do the next one. It's a little farther from where you extract, and then maybe the third one's like the far end of the map. All at the same time, you are collecting items, looking in rooms, looking in drawers. You pick them up, and then you can put it in a cart or you can put it straight onto the extract point. There are two main challenges. One is carrying the item around. It's like you hold your mouse, but you have to hold it, and then you have to also make sure not to bump it into anything. As you bump it into things, you're like damaging it, and the value goes down.
Okay.
So like you're holding a diamond, and then you like swing to your right really fast, and it hits the door, and then the diamond breaks. And then you're like, well,
diamond.
Yeah, or like knock it into one of your teammates even. The second biggest threat is the monsters, which if you're watching the trailer, you might have seen. Monsters, demons, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ones. It's like there's like a man that can't see, but if he feels you with his cane, he'll shoot you.
Oh, wow.
Or I guess his gun. There's like a little duck that doesn't even bother you. It's just annoying. But if you accidentally click it or bump into it with an item, it will start to attack you, and you have health, so you got to survive.
Right.
And the charm of this game is like those little Muppet robots, but it's all proximity voice chat. So it's
wonderful.
got the thing where your voice changes depending on where you are in the map, your proximity to other players. And I would say like the character model is really cute, because when you talk, all the robot's eyes will move to the person that's talking. So there's a lot of like side eyeing, a lot of mouth flapping.
Yeah.
And then you can like shrink yourself really small to hide in nooks and crannies. Your friends can pick you up and put you places. Like you can lift up your friend, and your friend can reach up for something high.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So it's a lot of teamwork. It's pretty fast. The monsters are there. They're not the scariest things, but if you're like just looking around and you turn the corner and suddenly, big no face from Spirited Away is there. That does give you a spook sometimes. And then now you're desperately running back to your friend saying like, don't go there. He's right there. And the monsters react to sound too. So you don't want to talk too loud either.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of those little systems
Nice.
packaged in a game that runs well and visually unique. And it's lighthearted enough that it's fun. Played that for about 2 nights, and then like we're stuck on level 5. It's 3 extract points, and then by the 5th level we've broken so much stuff that we don't have enough money to extract.
Oh no.
Like, okay, I guess this is just where we lose because we can't. So it's a pretty cool game. It's cheap. It's a nice romp with friends, like the price of a movie, and you get a couple nights of fun out of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hopefully it comes to consoles with crossplay and everything, because it is pretty tricky.
Yeah. Proximity voice chat is probably one of the greatest, inventions of the past. I feel like, what's the first game that you can think of that had proximity voice chat? I mean, I know Call of Duty was doing it, but it was always like when you'd get killed, and then it would.
The hot mic. Yeah.
Yeah. Suddenly that would happen, but
Well, the first time I've heard of proximity voice chat was actually in Among Us, so not too long
fair
ago.
enough. Yeah.
It was a mod, and that was pretty
okay.
fun because you'd be the imposter, you sneak up on someone and be like, "Boo!" Just kidding, I'm not the imposter, and then you kill them anyways. But as for other games, I'm actually not sure. Like, I'm trying to think of bigger games that have had it. Call of Duty for sure, probably MMOs, VR chat maybe.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm Googling it, and people are saying like Roblox has had it before, Arma has had it before, but I feel like, what was the first thing that like made it big,
I want to say Among Us like made it fit, right?
Yeah.
But that was a mod. I don't think it was ever official.
Yeah. Outlast Trials, DayZ. Lots of
maybe DayZ
games.
Or PUBG maybe, because
true.
Because you can hear people chat when you get close to them, and that's part of that stealthy tactical part of it. Yeah, it's a good pull. Well, proximity voice chat is fun, kind of like how me and Jordan are proximity voice chatting in your head right now.
Whoa!
If you're listening to this, and that brings us to the end of our episode this week, where I shared about my Pokemon adventures and a little bit of what we've been playing.
Mm-hmm.
So, hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Grow Up, Level Up Gamers Club. If you liked what you heard, remember to like, comment, share with a friend or an enemy this episode. Maybe
right.
If you hate Pokemon or like Pokemon, thank you for listening and thank you for sharing.
If you hate Pokemon, share it with someone who also hates Pokemon.
Yeah, or likes Digimon.
Yeah,
apparently, they just announced a card game version of that for mobile today or something. For Digimon. Yeah, I'm going to look into it. I actually don't know what it's called. But yeah. Thank you for listening again. If you liked what you heard, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. We are at Grow Up, Level Up. We do weekly podcasts on our day-to-day. I think next week we're going to talk all about Nintendo Switch rumors, the final rumor roundup for the Switch reveal on April 2nd.
That's right.
And then, follow me at Samson XP on all the socials, or on Blue Sky at smsn.bluesky.social. I think I'm going to change that to my website soon, though. Giving up on the SMSN name. But yeah, follow us along. Jordan, where can people find you?
People can find me on all social media at Sir Dr. JM. That's Sir DRJM.
Excellent. And I don't know if you're ready for this, but do you have any wise words for us? What do you have to do?
You know what? I'm not ready in the way I traditionally am, but I was ready enough that I Googled it to see what Google AI would say as words of wisdom.
Okay.
And it says, here are some words of wisdom to ponder. True knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing.